Ladies and gentlemen, today's episode is a very special episode. Normally I have one guest, but today I am joined with four guests. And not only that, they are part of a movie. You guys know I love terror films, but this movie in particular, Meathook. I want to introduce everybody, have them introduce themselves. Welcome the cast slash writer slash director of Meathook. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks for having us, Chris. I guess I can start off with introductions. My name is Jermey Ashley. I'm the writer, director, producer of Meathook, and yeah, I guess that's a good jumping off point right there. I'm gonna pass it over to one of our actors, starting with Havon.
Hi, what's up? My name is Havon Baraka. I played the role of Grayson in Meathook. I will pass it to Janie.
Hi, I'm Janie, and I play the role of Chris in the movie Meathook. And I will pass it to Buddy.
Hi there, I'm Buddy Clements, or Doc, and I play the role of Detective Sawyer, as I recall.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. We were talking about this before I recorded, but I just right off the bat, I love this fucking movie. It's so good and it's so well made and so well acted that I love the concept of it. So I'm gonna kind of start with you, Jeremy. Like, where did the concept of this movie come from? Where did it spark?
That's a great question. So, I like to ask people a question first off, when I introduce the idea of this movie, and that is, what happens to the final girl after the credits roll? And that was a subject that I was really interested in exploring because, as you know, in most horror movies, when you have a final girl in some sort of sequel, she's usually killed off in the beginning, or they just completely write her out of the story altogether. And I felt that was a missed opportunity for a lot of these slasher films to explore the kind of trauma that this character goes through and what their life is like afterward, and how the events of such a traumatic experience affects them, and how they're able to carry on in life afterwards, and also what happens when that kind of evil and traumatic experience returns, and how they're able to overcome it and grapple with it. So that was kind of the main thing going in that I wanted to explore. And kind of in addition to that, I also wanted to explore themes of loss. Obviously, our main character had a lot of friends killed before the events of our film start. So what is it like with that character going through that and that kind of loss, and overcoming all that and learning to put together the pieces of her life together again and move on. So those were kind of the main aspects that I wanted to explore with the film going in.
Nice. And I think that's probably one of my favorite concepts of it because, yeah, that's a great question. What happens to the final goal after? I mean, we're all probably oversaturated with Scream, so we know what the fuck Sidney Prescott's doing. So let's move on from that. Fucking 7 movies are about to happen by now. Jeez, I think I want to break from what Sydney's doing, in my
As much as
opinion.
I love Sydney and as much as I love the Scream films, yeah, I feel like I'm very opinionated when it comes to this, but I don't really feel it's a Scream film if Wes Craven's not directing,
Yeah.
and or Kevin Williamson isn't writing. Now, obviously, this new one we have Kevin Williamson directing it, but it feels almost like a parody in and of itself that we're on a 7th Scream film.
Yeah.
The joke is kind of on the movie at this point. Before, the joke was kind of at the audience and at the expense of the horror genre and being able to poke fun of it. But this time, I feel like the joke is on the movie itself. So.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the time that they start, hunting her down in a retirement home and just, trying to do a rotary phone, but she doesn't remember because she has dementia. So it's just so much there. Anyways, off topic, as you guys will experience a lot on this podcast. Havon, sir, you play such a great role in this movie, and I really gravitate towards it because I'm a podcaster. If you haven't noticed yet, but also you had just such great on-screen wit and chemistry between the main actress. What got you just really interested in doing this role?
Oh man, so I a lot of people that have talked to me for more than like 10 minutes about horror movies know that I always gravitate in horror films towards the character that's looking for the monster, whether it's Van Helsing or it's Taggart in the Jeepers Creepers second film. Obviously, my favorite is Dr. Loomis, and I feel like Grayson to me is like the midpoint, is the compromise between Dr. Loomis and Randy. And because he's got the he's down to earth and accessible as Randy is, but you know, Randy's still like in the second film, you know, he's just trying to live his life. Whereas Dr. Loomis is like, no, I want to find who this guy is. And I'm always a sucker for those roles. And that's why it was such a dream to play a role such as Grayson. It was such an honor, and just because you always notice that those characters almost have their own movie. They're very separate from the main cast. So they have their own arc, and they're loners in their own way. Like whether it's because somebody doesn't believe them or people just dismiss them as crazy or weird. And Grayson fit all of that. So it was like a role that I've been begging to play and I've been itching to play. And so yeah, it was I loved every second of that.
Yeah, and you did so good in it, and also your characters dealing like with their own trauma while trying to like face the main character's trauma, but also just not trying to get killed, because that's, you know, the most important part. Because, you know, hint hint, if there's a sequel, which we can talk spoilers, the post credit scene kind of leans towards that. So yeah, man, I think it's great that you had all that range with your character. So my hat's off to you. I'm not literally taking my hat off because my hair looks like shit, but you know, metaphorically, yeah, yes. Metaphorically for doing that. Mr. Buddy Clements, sir, you played such a gritty cop in this movie, and you did it so well. You're just kind of like those, it's like Columbo, but he's a recovering alcoholic. What kind of happened with that? What got you into character for that?
Well, that's a good question. You know, I've done some you know, some horror pictures, or I guess you'd call them, but I don't know. I just kind of learned. A large part of my background's in music, and I remember asking one time one of my heroes and idols, and eventually was a very dear friend, was a guy named Elmer Bernstein, and he wrote so many classic movie scores, but he did The Magnificent Seven, and then many years later, they did a kind of a spoof called Three Amigos, and he did the music for that. And so I remember asking one time, wasn't that like spoofing yourself? You know, like kind of, and he said, no, because I just take, you know, he said, I think he said he learned it from, oh geez. Who's the guy that did it? Oh man, this is terrible. The director that did like Animal House and
oh, John Landis.
That's the guy. I think they were next door neighbors, and but I think Elmer said that he kind of learned from him, because he was going to do some movies with him, and he came in and said, well, you know, I'll try to, you know, get some yucks here or something. He said, no, I just want you to play it straight. You know, that'll be even funnier if you'll just make the music like you would for a serious picture. This will be even funnier. So that's kind of, you know, when I looked at the role of Detective Sawyer and read the script, I thought, there's some good lines in here. This is pretty, you know, this could be funny. But then I thought, no, don't do that. You know, just play the guy like it's a serious, like this is serious. And, you know, so I guess that's mostly what I did to prepare for, is just, you know, just kind of take it serious, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, like, much like Havon's character, he had his own movie going on. You also kind of had your own movie going on in turn too. It's like, it's just the multiverse of Meathook kind of coming together for just one cinematic adventure, and I loved it. And so and good.
I grew up, I was a huge Elvis fan. I don't even know if I went into it, but I mean, I was a huge Elvis fan when I was a little kid. And I even saw Elvis 3 times in concert. You know, I'm that old. But so the fact that this detective, you know, was kind of a big Elvis fan, that also, you know, helped me gravitate towards it. It was a lot, that part was fun.
I love it. Janie, your role was a lot of flashbacks, and you know, it's still, your flashback scenes were basically the foundation of the movie, because we needed to know the backstory while the story was happening. So how do you feel like with your character came off on screen, kind of setting up that foundation?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm so sorry. What was that?
No, it's okay. I
Maybe
ramble a
something
lot. So how do you feel with your scenes being more based flashback? Do
Oh,
you feel like helped you set the foundation for the movie in general?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. When I talked to Jeremy about the role, also, I want to say I was so excited to play Chris when Jeremy told me that I get to be murdered. That has been like my dream of being murdered on a film, like since I was, I don't know, 8 years old. Don't tell my mom that. I wasn't supposed to be watching those movies. But yeah, I was really excited because her friendship, like Jordan's friendship with Chris, is the catalyst of who she is when she's dealing with Havon and all of the characters throughout the entire movie. So I knew that Chris was really important along with all the other two, people that were murdered in the cabin with her. So I was just excited. And also when Jeremy and I were talking about like when it comes to Chris, like who do you kind of look to in horror movies? But then you always think of like, oh my goodness, I'm blanking on her name, but Rose McGowan's character, Tatum, correct?
Tatum.
I looked to Tatum so much when it came to playing Chris because it's like you can't lose your bestie and be the same person. You just can never be. So honestly, Chris was such a fun role for me, to be honest. And honestly, a lot of my favorite memories from ever a movie set. I hope I can actually talk about that at some point in this podcast when me and the other actors got pulled over on the way to set and almost did not make it. So yeah.
No, I kind of want to hear it now.
It's a good story. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, it was our first day shooting. We were on our way to, oh my gosh, Jeremy, where was it? It was the most beautiful cabin. And it was like almost for like a wedding venue.
Yeah. Somewhere in north part of the valley. God, I'm blanking on the name of where it was at too. Some kind of ruralish area, kind of north of the valley, though. Yeah.
Yes, and it was absolutely stunning. But Renee, the main actress who plays Jordan, needed to be on set earlier. So me and Christian and Grant, who are the other two actors, we all decided to carpool together from Jeremy's place to head to the set. While we were on the highway, we're just going along, and then there's like a car, and it's flashing its lights, and we're like, oh, it must be a construction truck just trying to like, stop the traffic behind us. We're good. So we just keep going, and then we realize like, no, it's a cop car trying to pull us over. So we get pulled over, and Christian, the driver, love him. He pulls over to the wrong side because he panics. He's like, oh my God, I'm running from a cop. Did not mean to do that. So we stop. The cop gets out, and he's like, why did you run? And we're like, oh my God, we're so sorry. We thought you were a construction car. He's like, okay, license and registration, please. And Christian's like, it's in the back. And we're like, he's going to have to step out of the car. I was like, we're all dead. We're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. I need to call Jeremy right now. I need to tell him like, we are all going to jail. We are not going to make it. And so Christian gets out of the car. He gets his license, and he's like, and the cop's like, where are you guys going? And we're like, we're on our way to a movie set. And he's like, what kind of movie? We're like, it's a horror movie. And the cop just looks at us and he's like, are you all SAG? And we're like, no, but we're trying to be. And he looks at Christian's license. He goes, get you a couple lines on a TV show and you guys will be good to go. Good luck with your movie. You can continue. And the cop let us go. And that will always be one of my favorite memories of heading to a set, is that we almost did not make it.
Is there an implication if you guys were SAG, he would have gave you a ticket?
Right. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Point.
But I was also like, is he an actor as well? Immediately was like SAG. And we're like, no, but one day. And he's just like, you got it. And let us go. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing. And I also really appreciate Jeremy because we ended up booking the role. Havon, I'm not quite sure, or Buddy as well. I ended up booking the role right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And, we went through the Zoom meetings and stuff on like how we were going to do this film and when we'd be able to start production and stuff. But, the thing, it was integral for Renee and me and then all the others to really know each other, to have that friendship on camera. And I think Jeremy was so good at keeping us in communication. And so by the time we actually did meet in person, I felt like they were my actual friends. So that's why I really, really loved playing the character of Chris, because I actually did get to have friends in real life because of it.
It's kind of a nice bonding experience. At least you didn't have the cop who's like, hey, I can play a cop well, and kind of like weasel his way into the car with you to basically have you tell Jeremy, hey, guess what? This guy needs to play a cop or we're going.
I know, buddy. He's coming for your job.
And he can only do it in accents. And he's bad.
Only with the southern accent. We could have used the police car, though. That would have added some nice production value to it.
Have him as helping with the props department and shit like that. Oh man, I love that. The things people do for art. So I commend you on almost sacrificing your freedom, to make this movie. So it's kudos to you on that one. Plus that is a great story, and I love hearing how genuine friendships are and how they transition so well on screen. I mean, even with Havon's character, like you can tell, like you guys bonded. I'm assuming on set. I'm just gonna make that assumption, and if not, hey, you did a wonderful job acting like you did.
I mean, we weren't particularly close or anything like that. There was a nice rapport. We both like at the time we had been in a number of horror films and sort of semi familiar roles. Like she had been used to being the final girl, and I was used to playing the character searching for the monster. So because I played in another movie where I was like playing a psychic or whatever like that, looking for like this monster in another dimension, and so it was just it was it was we kind of like mini bonded about that. So yeah, I mean, I think the ironically enough, I think because of his love for it and my love for horror films and just how deep we get into it. I mean, I think I dig deeper than Jeremy does sometimes. I think Jeremy has to pull me back and he's like, all right, man, calm down. Like, you don't have to look for the Boston Strangler in real life. You know?
I'm like, what character name are you talking about? I swear to God, if this guy can remember the first and last name of every character in every horror movie, and it just amazes me to no end. I don't know how he does it.
Horror, ironically, is my life.
Me too, buddy.
Yeah.
That's the podcast name. I love horror.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, thanks for the plug on that one. I appreciate the soundbite.
Anytime, my guy. Anytime. You want me to do a little plug voiceover for you? You got it.
All right. We'll talk. Or maybe just, do some ASMR so I don't feel as weird, during the day.
I love
If I can sneak in.
Of course, buddy.
I was almost the opposite because sometimes I just think, depending on what my character is on a set, in this case, I was noticing there were nice friendships going on when we take a break or something, but I purposely just kind of stayed aloof, for the most part, because I thought, well, I'm not really supposed to be, buds with these guys, and I'm supposed to be, kind of at a distance and that kind of thing. But I was watching, obviously we're all observers, and I was watching what a really nice group of people. It was such an honor and really a blessing to just work with everybody. But really for me to just mainly keep my mouth shut, unless I was speaking lines, and stay in the back and just watch how professional everybody was. But also there was just there was a lot of friendship going on, and so. I was surprised. I went to one of the screenings, and some of the gang was there, and they came out. They were so friendly to me, and I thought, man, because I felt I didn't want to come off as being stuck up, but I was just trying to keep a little distance,
It's so ironic. I remember telling Jeremy, I was like, man, I wish because me and your character, we only have like one semi interaction, and I was like, man, I wish I could have acted with Buddy more. It was, and I remember when I was at the premiere and I saw Janie as Chris, and I was like, man, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, Grayson so would have been Chris's sub. Just, I'm like, if they weren't siblings, like she definitely would have been like, no, come here. They would have lived. They definitely
100%.
would have lived.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's a world where Jordan and Chris and Grayson, they're like the trio of this horror series, like. They're like the Ron and Hermione of the situation. But yeah, man, it's crazy you say that, Buddy. Like I remember saying to Jeremy multiple times, I was like, man, I wish I had the chance to work with Buddy, like in more than just one quick transition scene.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, everything Buddy was in. I mean, people would always praise his performance and always point out the fact that, I love the cop character. He's so fun and quirky, and he's like, just so lovable in his own way. I always want to see more of him on screen, everybody would say. So whatever you did, Doc, you pulled it off.
Well, you wrote it, you wrote it. So I just
you brought it to life. You spoke the lines. So
Yes.
I can't take all the credit for it.
There was definitely an element that I was like, oh man, you really want them to make it. There's a lot of cop characters in horror films in general that it's like, oh, okay, God, they made it. And then, but you were definitely one of those cop characters that definitely made it. And with Janie, oh man, I read the Scream script years ago. And as I'm reading it, I was like, oh wow, Stu could have been like such a thankless role. But Matthew Lillard really like gives it a pulse. And I feel that Janie did the same thing with Chris. I was just like, wow, like she owned the role, like just like really took it on. It's like, man, I want to do that one day. I want to be able to do that one day. And no, so like, both inspirations, really.
Thank you,
I
Havon.
love
And
that.
honestly, oh, so sorry to interrupt you, Chris.
No,
Okay.
I just said I love that, but please continue.
Oh no, I was just saying, like I was like, because I was in the flashback scenes, I only worked with this very small, well, not a small, but a small amount of the crew, like, only 3 other actors. But like Jeremy was telling me about the other things that was going on and shooting and production. And you said, oh my God, you would get along with Havon so great, because I'm also a very large horror movie nerd. And also I did like a whole thing where I went through like the worst B horror films you could ever find. And those are like my favorite. And then also like genres of like my favorite like trilogy is Ginger Snaps.
Ooh,
And
fucking love Ginger Snaps.
Nice.
love Ginger Snaps. I never get to talk to people about it. People are like, what is that? I was like,
Don't you die a little bit when you mention something like a horror movie you love, and
Yes.
people are like, what the fuck is that? I
Oh,
feel that way
yeah.
with my favorite comedy, Death to Smoochie. No one knows.
Oh
what
my
that is.
God.
Right.
That's such a great.
Thank you.
nice.
It's
I love
brilliant.
it.
It's such a great concept alone. Like it's one of those films I was like, I wish I came up with that.
I know, right? Like, and that's how I feel with some like the horror movies. Like, I tell people about Frighteners, and no one's like talks about Frighteners.
I have just been showing so many friends that movie.
Oh,
Like,
for real?
So
Nice.
many. I tell people like, yes, it's, and they don't believe. I have to sell it on. Peter Jackson did it.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
God,
the main
yeah.
draw. That's the main draw.
Yeah.
And I wish Peter Jackson still did horror movies, man. I
was
so-
wish
I
he
know.
still did.
It's so fun. Oh my God. Don't even get me started on that film. I
know, we can
love. That's in my top 10 horror films. Like I love that. I love that.
100%. I feel like I've earned everybody's respect finally after the whole fiasco earlier. So I'm feeling pretty good. Might be
You finally
overconfident.
did. You finally, yeah, you smoothed it over there.
Good. I'm 40 years old. I feel like I should have enough experience smoothing things over, but unfortunately I don't. No, Havon, Jane, I think you two, if you guys did a movie, I see you two being like two best friends doing like a paranormal movie, like your paranormal ghost hunters, and then just like it's a weird like super horror but also comedy element. Like I would love to see that.
Step aside, Ed and Lorraine.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
jeez.
no, Havon, I would love that, especially as like 2 Black ghost hunters, because as like African American people, like Black people and ghosts have a completely different relationship
Yes,
to ghosts than a lot of people. So I think that would be such a fun horror
I
comedy.
agree.
too.
I agree.
That
I
would be
agree.
so.
I feel
fun.
like Havon would be like the very gung ho ghost hunter, and Janie's gonna be like nah, like I really don't want to get too much into it. Like there's kind of like a Mulder and Scully dynamic going
Oh
on there.
yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Jeremy, we'll talk, man. Let's get this
Yeah.
on paper.
I think we're coming up with some good ideas.
I
here.
like it.
Yeah.
Buddy could be
yeah,
there.
I just wanted to mention that even though Janie's only in the flashbacks and you only see a short kind of moments with her and our lead character Jordan, I feel like those moments you can really feel the chemistry between both of them and kind of some history beneath that and the camaraderie that they have with each other and just the way that they're able to play off each other's lines and just kind of goof off and be silly. You can kind of see that friendship there, even though it's only in a few short scenes.
Yeah, and I love that you didn't just like plop it just right there. It was spread out
Mhm.
during. If I could use like a good example, like the newest Final Destination Bloodline, you didn't see exactly everything that happened. It was just parceled out like perfectly, and I think that's one thing that worked really well. It's like you're kind of wondering why the main character is so broken, but then you see all these things lead up to the great friendship, and then of course everybody dying, and it's just Like I said, I would fanboy a lot about this movie, and obviously I loved it.
Fanboy away, please.
I mean, it's great. Like, speaking of the movie, like the killer is kind of an interesting concept. So I'm curious into your dark, twisted mind, Jeremy. Like, where did this killer kind of originate? Where'd you come up with it?
Well, every good slasher movie needs a killer, so we had to come up with somebody. I originally the script that we had as Doc and Havon and Janie will tell you was a lot different from the final product that we ended up with. So there was a lot of rewriting on exactly who the killer was and what his motivations were. And a lot of the inspiration that I took from it was, since we have a killer that originates from the woods, that's kind of his hunting grounds, for the most part. Jason Voorhees, obviously. Kind of one of the go-to ones right there. Very kind of quiet, slow, methodical, not rushing into it, slow stalking people, kind of deal with that. So that was a big inspiration, of course. And of course, Scream, obviously, big inspiration on the film overall. But just having, kind of a quiet killer. Obviously, he doesn't move in the same way that like a Ghostface does. A little bit more plotting like Jason is. So yeah, I would say those are probably the biggest inspirations for the killer right there. And just having a killer that has a costume that's somewhat memorable and sticks out a little bit. So we took a lot of time in order to hone in on exactly what the outfit for the killer was going to be. In terms of the jacket and the kind of fur and mask and necklace and bandages he's going to have on, just to make him separate and kind of stand out from other villains and kind of have his own unique look and feel to him. And then obviously the crown, jewel on top of the whole costume being the actual meat hook itself, which I'm very proud of. We spent a lot of time looking for just the right meat hook with just the right kind of characteristics to it, and I'm really happy with what we turned out with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, clearly it's good. I mean, looking at your background for that sweet ass poster art, I mean, it's well done and I love it. And yeah, there's not many like killers who kind of embody a lot of things yet have their own originality. And I think that's one of the good things about the killer in this movie is he's a slow burn stalker, but at the same time, when he's there, he's going full Voorhees or Michael Myers. It's just kind of like a shark. He just doesn't care, but he still has that main, focal point of getting the last survivor.
He is. And he's also, in some ways kind of a fish out of water because he's out of his natural element of the woods and his usual hunting ground. So now he's in this kind of urban environment where he's trying to navigate. And obviously, we have a couple funny moments in there where we have him being mistaken as an Uber driver and other things like that. So we're able to kind of play with that a little bit while also keeping the tone of the killer kind of dark and mysterious.
I love it. And I've highly recommended this movie to people, and it's so good. And it's just, as a fan of you guys and the movie, I'm really hoping for a sequel. I'm hoping this turns into kind of a franchise thing. So I will keep my, my dark, cursed heart, hopes and ready for that, hopefully. And you guys are always doing a great job with Terror Films, too, which I will always sing their praises.
Absolutely, yeah. And Terror Films, a fantastic distributor that has done a great job helping promote our film. Obviously, they got it in front of your eyes so that you were able to make this awesome review. And speaking of the review, I mean, it was just so touching. Reading through this very thoughtful and detailed analysis of the film, more so than anybody else would dive in deep into that. And I remember, I think the first time I read it, Havon sent it to me. He's like, bro, did you read this review?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, what is it? Is it good? Is it bad? And I read it and it's just like you honestly can't ask for a better review than that. I mean, just the fact that it touched you in that way and, you were able to pinpoint all these different themes and elements that, I wasn't sure people were going to pick up on, but you were able to, and you just so eloquently described, how it affected you as well as the film itself. So big thanks to you, man, for putting such an awesome review out there and acknowledging all the awesome work that these actors and our crew has done in the film. It really meant a lot to us. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I like to joke with people. I'm a horror movie reviewer that likes movies. So it's, and I've been a horror fan most of my life, so it's, if I watch a horror movie, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to tell people what I like. So I'm glad that review had such a positive effect on you guys. I always worry, like, am I being too ranty or am I nerding out too much? But I'm glad it had such a good effect on you guys.
Oh, that's
such a good line. Like, you're a reviewer that likes movies. You have no idea how much that separates you from so many automatically.
Well, man, it's just like people, they would rather hate on a movie than talk about what they love about it. Like, I did a lot of stuff in press for Hell House LLC Lineage, another Terror Film stuff, and people were just bitching about it. And I'm like, did we watch the same movie? You guys are complaining about the same thing because it's trendy. So I'm trying to bring it back. I'm trying to bring the love, why you love movies, I'm not gonna be, full on Siskel and Ebert because they were kind of dicks sometimes. So
I never understood them. I never got like why they would say like these horrible things about these horror movies. I'm like, do you like horror movies? Well, no. I'm like, then why are you reviewing them? Why do you watch them? Stick to your Oscar baits. Like, just stick to the type of films that
I
you
know.
want, the genre you like. So
I remember being a little kid and watching them, and they ripped apart the Power Rangers movie. And even as a little kid, I'm like, fuck these guys.
Blasphemy.
I don't want to ever be like them.
for me, it was Friday the 13th Part 4. I think he called the film
Ooh.
irresponsible or like, don't take your kids to see. I'm like, well, I don't, yeah. I was like, all right, man, you can't be trusted. I'm like, I can't.
No, and they just didn't really understand it. They were very anti kind of violence in terms of a lot of the horror stuff. They were,
Then
expounding upon, oh, it's going to harm the youth and stuff like that.
Then stick to Babe Pig in the City and just watch that film.
Exactly. Like you're obviously not nuanced enough in your repertoire of film loving that you're not able to, give an accurate and honest review of a horror film. And there's YouTube videos out there, compilations of all of them talking trash about horror movies. And I ended up one day deciding on a lark in order to edit the episode where Siskel and Ebert do a review of Friday the 13th Part 4, but I edited it with different clips to make it seem like they loved the film. So if you go on and you search Friday the 13th Part 4, Siskel and Ebert, you'll probably find it. So I rectified history in that way by making them like the film, even though I'm
great.
sure they're rolling in their graves.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, that just makes me even more realize we're in the darkest timeline with those guys and how they did movie reviews. So yeah, I'm changing. I'm trying to change the game, but at the same time, I love horror movies. Clearly, that's the name of the podcast. That's why I do it. So if I'm able to highlight movies in any way, especially independent movies, and share the love of work, great. Sorry, Jeremy, I feel like I interrupted you there.
No, totally good. Yeah, and we really appreciate what you're doing by highlighting these independent films. Obviously, doing this podcast interview with us and writing a review about Meathook, but just shedding a light on these films that don't get a lot of mainstream attention, that don't get a lot of people talking about them in order to create a buzz and in order to get an audience to take a chance on it, which sometimes people aren't if they're not familiar with the film. So just being able to promote and champion independent horror films, hats off to you for that, big time.
Yeah, I'm happy to do. Honestly, some of these movies, especially like Meathook, if we're going back to that, they're better than a lot of the big budget movies out there. That's why I love a lot of the independent horror movies, because lately it's just about, I kind of feel like somebody clubbed me over the head and told me how I should watch a movie. It's like, I mean, don't get me started with the Strangers, that whole new trilogy. Jeez, I mean, it just makes me want to get into a car accident. It's just so bad. And Rennie Harlan's so good, but it's clearly like I just want to get my kitchen redone. That's just all it is. That's just how it feels to me.
Oh, that's gonna be a great kitchen when it gets done, though. I'm telling you.
It better. Jeez, man. With how much that shit sucked, that thing better have a kitchen, a golden toilet in every room of the house. Because it was garbage. No offense to him.
I could not get through the newest one. Yeah, I love me some Rennie Harlan. I mean, Die Hard 2, fantastic action director. Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Yeah, he's no stranger to the horror genre. But yeah, I just couldn't get into it. I mean, it just felt like a parody of a Strangers film. Like, oh, here we go. They're in the isolated cabin, and somebody comes, and blah, 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 blah,
That was the pitch.
That was exactly the pitch, and they said green light. There we go.
Yeah, it reminds me of that Family Guy where they're making fun of Stephen King, and he's talking about a lamp, and he's just trying to pitch it. He's like, "It's a lamp.
Ooh, the spooky lamp is gonna kill you."
Yeah, and then he's like, "Just give me the pages. How much do you want for it?" So yeah, it feels like that. We're getting into the second half part that we've kind of touched on a little bit, but I'm really excited to get more into is everyone's love for horror. And we've all kind of mentioned a little bit, but I want to ask you guys each individually. So we'll start with Havon. Havon, why do you love horror?
Horror was the first. I was like 6 or 7 when I first saw Halloween, just like the last 15 minutes of it. And it was the first film that made me like emote or feel. I remember. I'm not ashamed of this. I only see the last 15 minutes of it. Jamie Lee Curtis, she's running across the street. I'm like, what is this white woman running from? And she's at the door, she's banging. She's like, Tommy, open the door. And you're just like, okay, whatever. And I see a guy with a mask across the street, and I'm like, okay, whatever. He's gonna open the door, and he's getting closer and closer. I'm like Tommy, open the door, and he's still coming. He's approaching. I'm like, yo, is she gonna make it? Mind you, I have no context as to anything that's going on. And finally, by the time the film's done, I don't know who Dr. Loomis is. I don't know who these two kids are. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know anything. But I looked down and I peed myself. I was so scared, and I couldn't, and I was alone in the house, so I can't even leave the room that I'm in. And just, I guess I equate it to people that get on roller coasters. It's like that dopamine, that adrenaline rush. And I think probably because like I had like a pretty dark origin story growing up, and and horror just feels like a world I understand. Um, and and a lot of times in horror, our protagonist can fight against the monster and they can overcome in a way that unfortunately it doesn't always happen in real life. The real life monsters, it's like, oh my God, did Jack the Ripper's victim fight back? And it's like, oh no, somebody recognized his tattoo. They called the detective Benson and she arrested him. And then everybody went home. And it's like pretty anticlimactic. But it's like in horror world, it's like, how did they live? It's like, no, Nancy grabbed Freddy's glove and beat the shit out of him with it, or Laurie Strode outsmarted Michael Myers, whoever it may be. And I think that's, obviously, there's a lot of films like, where evil never dies and evil, wins at the end. But there's a lot where these characters who are traumatized, who are wronged, who are victimized, they overcome and they triumph. And I think that was something that I was always attached to, and they could do things in a world, and whereas I couldn't do it in real life. So
No, I love that. I can relate to that. Like
Very well
for
put,
real.
Havon. Very well
Yeah.
put.
No, I couldn't say it better myself, man. Doc, how about you, sir? Why do you love horror?
Okay, guys, here it comes. I'm afraid to say, I don't like when I was a little kid. Here's the thing: I just don't like to be scared. I really don't. And even just being, I'm way older than all you guys. When I was a little kid, it was like the Twilight Zone on TV with black and white with Rod Serling, and there was some really spooky stuff. And just when you're a little kid, it's like, I could watch it because it would seem okay but there's always a twist and that Serling stuff, and it's like and so and then as I got older, there were pictures like The Exorcist, and it was like the music. I didn't see The Exorcist till I don't know what 15 years ago or something. I mean, I waited. It took decades before I ever actually watched it. I knew all the the stuff that went on because people were talking about it. But the music was so creepy. I just, no, I'm not watching this. And then, and then it's been 20 years ago or something. I was studying film scoring, and they made us watch The Omen. And to this day, well, I left the room before the ending because I got just so intense. I've never seen anything so evil. Just evil. And again, part of it was the music with Jerry Goldsmith. It was just so brilliant because, a lot of that sort of what we used to call high church music or, was in Latin, and then he came up, Jerry Goldsmith with the music came up with this sort of like, if this is holy music, then the opposite of that would be this garbly chanting stuff that was going on, Anyway, I just couldn't, and it just built and built and built. And I couldn't to this day, and I've watched it several times. I just can't get to the ending. I get up to the part where Gregory Peck's got that kid in the car going to the church, and that's it. I can't take it anymore. I've never seen it. I just never see the ending. So I don't like to be scared, and so but some years back, when I started to sort of branch over into acting, my my acting mentor was this guy named Clu Gulager, who was big time actor back in the day, and was in. He was always one of my favorite actors, and he did like every TV show there ever was, and every time even as a kid, I'd start to leave the house and I'd flip in channels, go, oh, there's my guy, I gotta watch this, and so to have the opportunity to work with him years and years later was just, and then we became very good friends. But I wanted, when I started taking his workshops, I thought, I want to see every movie I can get on this guy. So I ordered every DVD that I could find that he was ever in. And he went through these phases where he was in Westerns, he was this and that, but he did a fair amount of horror stuff. And one was, it's either The Night of the Living Dead or Return of the Living Dead.
Havon and me are like biting our tongues. Right
exactly. I was thinking.
And so I'd never seen it, and then I really did not understand that sort of that genre because I hadn't been exposed to it. And I was sitting in this room, I was sitting there watching the TV, and I kept watching it and going, why are these girls running around with their boobs hanging on stuff in the cemetery? And I thought, I don't understand. Why does the cemetery have to do with these? Why do their boobs? Why do they have no tops on?
Hey, buddy, people mourn in their own way, sir. All right,
yeah,
it's just how people are.
I guess so. I just kept, and then it was a good movie. It was a good movie, but I thought, wow, that's just okay, And then some months later, there was a screening of it at the Egyptian, I think, in Hollywood, and then all the guys, we were all going to go, and Clue was going. He was on a panel of the director, all these guys were there. So I thought, okay, this will be all right. So I go to this thing, and the audience was howling and screaming like with laughter and stuff. And I, all through this movie, and I went, oh, that was supposed to be funny, like, oh, I get it. So it kind of opened my eyes and ears, like there's this entire world of genre of film that I really hadn't been much of a part of, I hadn't really paid much attention to. So I have a much deeper appreciation for it, and I get it. It took late in life to get it, but that's, and I will say of the horror films I've seen, I'm very proud of this picture. I mean, it might have been in a few, I don't know, it was in Vampires on a Boat and some other pictures. I don't know if you saw them, but this one, I was just really proud to have been a part of, because it just seems to be, to me, just on a whole other level of especially the fact that it wasn't a big budget picture, but it was really, really well done. And so yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Doc is too kind. Doc is too kind. There's a lot to unpack right there. First off, Return of the Living Dead. Clue Gallagher had an awesome late resurgence horror career. You guys also might remember him as the dad from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Yeah, that's right. And fun fact, I think this is the first time we're actually sharing this information on any sort of podcast or anything, is that after I found out that Clue was Buddy's acting mentor, I said, well, we need an actor to play the director in this fourth wall break scene that happens in the bathtub. And I really want to get somebody that people recognize. And if we can get Clue, that would be amazing. So I said, Doc, can you talk to him? Can you ask him if maybe he's interested in doing this thing? And he said, sure, I will. And he did. And I think he showed him the scene for the script, and they discussed it. And from what I remember Buddy saying, he said that Clue liked the idea. He thought it was really fun, and he would be interested in doing it. But it was around the pandemic, and also I think Clue health was in decline at that point, and he wasn't really able to do a lot of physical stuff. I think he was kind of, he had to sit down for most of the time. So unfortunately, we weren't able to make that happen. But oh my God, if we could have worked with Clue, that would have been.
He really wanted to do it. I mean, we did talk about it, and he really was interested. And like he was very, and I said, I think Jeremy kind of rewrote this part for you, and that kind of thing. And he said, oh, I could do this, and he was reading. Oh, I love this. I could do this, but at that time, it was kind of maybe at the height of the pandemic thing. And at the time, he was probably I don't know, 91, 92 or something. And he was, I know, was kind of very scared. And the people around him were kind of also nervous for him to be out in public. And you know, you couldn't even go over to his house to see him. You know, you could call him or write him, but, you know, so it was just, yeah, it was just unfortunate. But he was really, it would have been fun, but, you know.
Just the fact that he was interested and he liked the idea just warms my heart, and just that's good enough for me right there. And you know, I think Clue's last film before he passed away was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and honestly, I feel like having a you know, a big budget film like that and a role like that is a much better way for, you know, to have on the last film, you know, for him going out. So just the fact that he was able to be in that film and, you know, have this awesome filmography of movies that we're able to look back and enjoy his performance in is fantastic. So shout out to Doc for trying to get Clue on board for us.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, it would have been great to see, but still, that scene was still fun. I still really enjoyed that scene a lot. And I'm hoping, you know, more of your work just incorporates that fourth wall break, because it doesn't take you out of the movie at all. It was just kind of just there for a second and then you jump back into it. So I love that one so much.
That was a very contentious scene. There was a lot of debate in the editing process whether or not we should leave that scene in the film. And we actually did a cut of the scene without it just to see if it would work. And honestly, it worked great as just the kind of straight by the numbers horror scene of somebody, you know, getting attacked. But going into this film, I wanted to do something that was a little bit different. That wasn't just kind of the same old same. You know, there's a lot of slasher films out there, especially low budget ones that people make. And a lot of them are great, but I feel like a lot of them also do just kind of play it safe and by the numbers and don't really try to introduce anything new or stretch the bounds of the genre a little bit. And I like to think that we did that a little bit and provided horror fans and especially slasher fans with something that's just a little bit different from what they're used to seeing. And I feel like that's what sets our film apart from other ones out there, is the fact that we have this originality and we're able to approach this subgenre in a way that nobody else has before.
Absolutely. And again, it's one of the many reasons why I'm such a fan of this movie. And Janie, I know you've been so patient. I've been so excited to hear your answer. Why do you love horror?
Oh my God. Okay, we're going to be here for a second.
Oh, good.
I have loved horror even before I watched a horror movie. Like, I'm going to age myself really quick, but I remember being 5, 6 years old and being in a Blockbuster and then just seeing all of these movies to the side in the horror section. And it was like Chucky, it was Nightmare on Elm Street. And I just gravitated like a moth to a flame. I remember my mom snatching me away from them. And I've always been the person, if you tell me like, oh, you can't do something or you shouldn't do something, I'm going to do it. I'm absolutely going to do it. So I was like, I have to find a way to watch these films or movies. So, and I also find a lot of beauty in like spooky things that people don't normally like lizards or bats or things like that. I've always loved them. But once I think there was a Chucky marathon actually when I was 8 years old, and my uncle put it on and they were playing like every single Chucky movie. And up until that point, it had been all the way to The Bride of Chucky. And my uncle was watching it and my mom came in and said, no. And it was me and my little cousin. And she was like, no, these girls are too young to watch it. And so my uncle was like, okay. So he changed the channel. My mom went to bed and my uncle changed it back. And within about 10 minutes, my uncle fell asleep. It was a 24-hour marathon. So me, about 8 years old, and my little cousin Emily watched Child's Play 1, 2, and 3 and The Bride of Chucky twice the entire night. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in love. I have to like watch everything horror. But yeah, and also Chucky is actually one of my favorite series of all time. I'm absolutely in love with like Don Mancini's brain. Like, it's insane. But yeah, it's just always been a thing. And also I love how serious and unserious horror is. That you can take the most brutal, disgusting, horrible things and make it so funny. I don't know if you guys know the Hatchet series.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have like one of the figures up on my wall.
Sorry, I'm blind.
It's up there somewhere. It's
Okay,
really hard to
I will find
see.
it. I will promise you I will find it. But no, I just absolutely love things like that. It just makes me laugh and like, oh my God. And I love how big you can go with horror as opposed to like romance and stuff. It's just like, it's very in a box, but with horror, you can just have so many ideas and so many concepts and so many different monsters and mythologies and history that come from so many different cultures. And also, one of my very favorite things about horror, and Havon, I'm not sure if you feel this way. I'm sure, Jeremy, you also feel this way, or even Buddy, but I love that horror makes you root for people that we don't actually root for in real life.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like in a horror movie, you want that Black person to live. And it's really bothersome when they don't. And then, or the fat person, you want, you're like, come on, man, he's already been through enough. Like, leave him alone. You know what I mean? And like, I was that kid. I was the Black kid. I was the brown kid. I was the fat kid. And like, no one was really rooting for me. But in horror, you do. And then also, horror is, to me, inherently feminist. I absolutely love that the final girl is a staple in this genre. Absolutely. And like, I could go on for days about how much horror means to me. And also when it comes to practical effects, I really appreciate Jeremy. Also, I want to give a shout out to Yun, the practical effects artist that I worked with on Meathook. Like, oh my God, that was one of my favorite things I've ever done to this day, is like watching the process of putting on a prosthetic and creating the wounds and the makeup and, a blood tube, that someone's on the other side going, that is just the coolest thing in the world. Sorry, I just tend to hyperfixate on things. I'm in love with the entire world and storytelling and creation and ability. And you root for the people that you normally don't root for in real life. And I even have a horror movie tattoo. I don't know if you guys love Trick or Treat, but yes, I have.
Oh, fuck yeah, I love Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat is the most adorable horror film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Good way of putting it.
I have a little murder sucker on the back of my ankle.
That's so good.
Ooh, I love that. I love
First
everything.
person-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Havon.
No, I was gonna say, like, just to piggyback off of her. The first person she said, like, I thought of when she said, "Oh yeah, you root for, like, this person, the person you don't really root for in real life. If they don't root for in real life," I was like, first thing I thought of, I was like, Friday 13th Part 3. I'm part of the community that's like, Shelley should have been the main character.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, and because in real life, it's like, we want the muscular guy with the 5 o'clock shadow. That's that bench presses. Like that's who people want in real life to root for. But it's like, nah, get that guy out the way first.
Yeah.
Exactly. The jock, whatever, you're like, they can go. Like, they're not interesting. You don't root for them, but the people who actually like have struggled in life and you're like, oh, this is how they meet there, and that's not fair. Like, they should have had more. Like, I absolutely love that concept. And
that's how I felt about Randy Meeks in the Scream films.
Yes.
I was really, he was my surrogate character in that film. And when I was sitting in the theater in Part 2 and they got rid of him. God.
He has such a great line in that when the guy said, well, what would you do, Mr. Original? And he was like, I'd let the geek get the girl. And I'm like, it's like, that's such a great line. Or when she, like, to piggyback off of Janie again, just one of my favorite horror films. It counts technically. It's more of an action film to me, but Aliens. I'm like, and people are like, is that a feminist film? And I'm like, it is a mother fighting a queen at the climax of the film. Okay. So yeah,
100%.
over a child, they're both beefing over their kids.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love that. I love everything that you said, Janie. And I hope as a fat guy that somebody roots for me in a horror movie, and just in general. I mean, I have to deal with diabetes enough. I don't want to have to deal with people not liking me or not wanting to root for me. Jesus Christ! But no, I mean, and I agree about Shelley. Without Shelley, Jason wouldn't have the hockey mask.
The mask, yeah.
I tell people that
be running
all the
around
time.
with an old pillowcase on.
I know.
Horror is for the underdogs. I think that's why there's so many people that it's 100%. Like, Carrie's a horror movie. It's like, I feel like Carrie's only truly scary to someone that like did something that they shouldn't have done in high school.
Oh yeah.
The school bullies, yeah.
Yes.
Because I was rooting for the whole time. I was just like, I'll burn down that prom girl.
Yeah, I'm just like, Mom, I thought you said this was scary.
I know.
I'm like,
yeah, man. Oh, and I'm glad that the jocks end up getting it in the end. Because the geeks, they'll always rise, in my opinion. And that's what makes a good. I would say, and I know you said this earlier, Janie, that you've always wanted to see yourself die in a horror movie. I've always wanted to see myself die in a horror movie, but at the same time, I've always wanted to be the comedic relief who's like, you didn't expect to be the hero, but ends up being the hero. Like, even as a chubby guy, I'm like, this is when I know how to run. I can run now, and I can save the day. kind of thing. But it's silly. But yeah,
It's not silly. No, trust me.
Not at
man.
all. No, it's fun
Not at all.
times. It's fun
I
times.
just told you my favorite horror hero is an old man in a trench coat who's
Exactly.
just
That's okay.
monologuing. I love it. Just you see Michael Myers, he's taking out these dudes in their prime. Who's the man who has survived Michael over and over and over? It's like, oh, you see that crazy old guy over there? Yeah, that's the guy who Michael just can't take out, So
no, I love Loomis. Loomis has his own shelf behind me. It's just Loomis, it's Laurie from Halloween 2, and Michael, just on their own little shelf.
I love
I'll have
that.
to I'll give you guys a tour one of these days. There's so much shit in
Please.
here, but I love that, Janie. I think that's one of the best. Everyone has a great answer, and I
That was
mean,
a fantastic answer. Yeah. I mean, piggybacking off what she said, yeah, you're able to explore a lot of things in the horror genre that you're not able to, that might come off pretentious or heavy-handed in other films like a drama or anything like that. You're able to fly under the radar with a lot of stuff in horror in a way that you're not able to in other ones. And say some things that you might not be able to in other ones. So, it's a really unique genre in that regard, that you're able to have a lot of freedom to explore things in very metaphorical ways that are under the radar, but still are very poignant.
absolutely, and that's a good springboard to, your question as well, Jeremy. Why do you love horror?
Wow. Listening to Janie talk about her experience with horror, she mentioned being in a video store, a Blockbuster, and gravitating towards the horror section. I had a similar experience, although I was terrified of the horror section in the video store. All these covers staring back at me of blood and demons and slasher killers. It's, oh my God, what's in these tapes? What kind of horror and evil lies beyond these things? And despite the fact of being so scared of the artwork, and there was some fantastic artwork on these VHS covers in the 80s and 90s. So you can imagine how scary they were. But just trying to overcome that fear of that horror aisle and all these scary movies in it. So eventually I just started renting them. I just started popping them in, whatever grabbed my attention, and I haven't really looked back ever since. Started off, with the classics, and kind of moved up to all the cult stuff that we all know and love. So yeah, it's been a very long and varied history with the horror genre, but it's been something that has always stuck with me ever since I was a kid, harkening back to that video store and being scared of those movies in the aisle and just wanting to overcome that fear. And I feel like at this point I have.
Nice, I love that. I mean, I miss Blockbuster. I worked at 4 of them when I was younger, and I miss that atmosphere so much. I miss having my preferred customers every week. I'd walk through the store and they'd be like, should I rent this? Should I rent that? But yeah, man, it was a time, and just to walk through those aisles. And cover wise too, there was that Jack Frost holographic cover where you twist it and it just looks so
I remember
fucked
that,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, those 3D covers where
Those
like
are
it's
so
almost
fun.
popping out of the box and coming
Yeah.
at you. I'm thinking like Demons 2, Argento's Demon 2
Ooh.
cover.
I know what
Good.
you're talking about with the girl with the
Yeah,
spikes. Yeah, with the yeah. For me, it was Halloween 4 and 5. That mask.
Yeah.
And Jamie like at the knife thing on Halloween 5. And I had no idea, like hadn't watched it, but I was like, I always kept going back to I'd stare at it and I'm like, am I ready for this? I'm like, because it's telling you a little girl's in danger.
Mhm.
And rarely do horror films do that where it's like, oh no, at least back then it was like, no, a child, specifically this one kid is in danger. Except for like, Child's Play. Chucky's always
Yeah.
like, oh, I gotta fuck up Andy. I'm gonna fuck him up again. I'm gonna try and beat his ass again. So
And shout out Janie's uncle for turning it back onto the marathon.
such an uncle thing to do.
My Uncle Mark. Oh my God. Yeah. And the thing is, that's so funny. My family are like Midwestern people. So they go to bed at like 9 o'clock or whatever. So literally within 10 minutes, he was just out, but he was just like, I'm not going to listen to my sister. I was like, worked out great for me. But yeah, Chucky's one.
Shout out Uncle Mark. Shout out Uncle Mark. And Doc, one of these days when they're playing The Omen, we're gonna finish that movie. I swear.
Yes.
You
It's
got
in the
I'm
cards.
still, I was sitting here listening to you guys, and I was thinking, when I was that age, what was the thing that really scared me? And again, it was like a Twilight Zone episode. And I can still hear it and still see it. It's the one, I think it's called Nightmare of a Child or something, but it's this lady's a school teacher and she goes home and then there's a little yakety little blonde kid in the apartment complex. She keeps coming over and talking to her and then, and then at the end, I just remember why do you know so much about me and everything? And all of a sudden the little kid says, because I'm you, Helen. I'm you as a little girl. And I saw the murder and that man's coming right now, and I thought, and I could still hear her saying, I'm you, Helen. And it still scares me. So
Twilight Zone was way ahead of its time.
Oh, yeah.
It's still like you're saying, like it was scary. No, nobody. It is scary. It's still scary. The one that got me was really quickly was the grandmother was close to her grandson. The grandma passes away, but gave him a phone before she passed away.
Oh,
and
that's right.
He can still talk to her, and she's trying to convince him to unalive himself so that they can hang out again. And I just remember the mom getting on the phone like, stop playing, that's not funny. And then she hears the phone and she like breaks her. She's like, oh my God, I can hear her. Like, and I was like, oh my God. And it's not even nighttime when I'm watching this. It is 1:30 p.m. The sun's out, birds are chirping. And I'm like, no, Rod Sterling and this show, they're still doing too much. I got to change. I got to go to The Price is Right where it's safe.
And I would, I know there's a Omen Part 2 and Part 3, and that's, I don't know. I mean, that's even.
There's technically 6 of them. Technically.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, counting remakes and everything.
And the first Omen.
And the newest Omen doc. You got to watch. It's good stuff. It's probably maybe even scarier than the old.
Oh my gosh. Maybe, I could maybe do it after listening to you guys and you're so enthusiastic. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll give it a try.
Hey man, I'll say
an eye
it.
on.
Funny ones. Send him some funny horror movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Send them Frighteners. Send them Frighteners.
There you go. I was going to say Frighteners. Yeah.
Ooh, perfect. Well, it's got R. Lee Ermey in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He's great.
It feels like I guess because someone was like, "What is it like?" And I was like, "It feels like a horror movie Tim Burton did."
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It feels like kind of like a horror adventure,
But also rated R too. Like,
yes. Yeah.
It's such. Oh God.
I love it.
I got that movie as a kid as a gift from somebody randomly, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this thing?" And it's another holographic VHS.
It was, yeah.
He points at you, right? He points at you, right?
Yeah.
If you move it.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it. I'm like, okay, I'm obsessed with this movie. And geez, what is it, like 30 years later, and I'm still talking about that fucking movie? It's
Frank
so
Bannister.
good.
That's a role I've always wanted to play. Is Frank Bannister.
Just a con man, like psychic. That would be.
But
someone needs to bring
he's
him back.
But he's like but he's still a decent guy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But that film belongs to God. What's his name from Reanimator?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
The main Reanimator. I always
Jeffrey
forget his name.
Jeffrey
Yes.
Combs. That film belongs to Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, he steals the show with his whole pulling off the shirt thing. Yeah.
And as an autistic male, I'm like, I feel like he's autistic coded in that film. He could just be severely traumatized, but I love the line where the sheriff just tries to touch his shoulder. He's like, "Sheriff, you're invading my territorial bubble." And they don't even revisit it. They just move on. I love that movie.
Oh man, it's good.
Yeah.
My favorite scene with him is so random, where she's in the back seat and he's about to get in the car and she thinks that he's going to pull a gun, and he pulls out a inflatable ring because he's got hemorrhoids.
And they don't revisit it. That's it.
No, it's just still like a one cut thing. Fuck, I know what I'm watching tonight. I haven't watched Frighteners in a while,
Right?
but
Yeah,
I need to give it another go.
I just showed 2 different friends that a month ago.
I don't know if you guys seen like the behind the scenes like outtakes of it, but there's like a lot of scenes where Michael J. Fox is yelling Doc out. Like to another character. Like he's supposed to be saying a character to like, oh, Judge. I think he was like supposed to judge. But instead he's like Doc. And it's like
that they should have kept that in. That would have been a nice wink.
It would have been hilarious. You guys got to watch the deleted scenes. It's really funny.
I will tell you, buddy, here's a good selling point for this. You will never see Gomez Adams hump a mummy until you've seen this movie. So that's something to keep in mind.
That's all Buddy needed in order to watch.
That's a good sell.
I'm sold out. You got me. I'm hooked.
No, it's good. I could talk Frighteners all day long, but as we're wrapping up, I would love to know what you guys have going on, like your next projects, and kind of let the audience know too where they can also keep track.
100%. Well, I guess I'll start off. So, right now I'm in post-production on a short film that's going to be part of a horror anthology about cursed objects.
Ooh,
So we directed that, shot it over the summer last year, getting ready to wrap up editing and everything on it. So, been heavily into that, and then working on a couple scripts right now, in addition to producing a French short film. And me and Havon were throwing some ideas around about a feature script that we wanted to write together as well. So I'm hoping that's still going to be in the cards. We got to
ooh,
convene
nice.
about that and see when we can get the ball rolling. So yeah, lots of stuff in the cards right there. And just addressing what you kind of mentioned earlier about a potential Meathook sequel. Going into it, there was never really an intention of making this like, oh, I wonder what a part two or a three is going to look like. I was really just focused on just making one good film. So now that that's behind us, I knew that this question of, if you were going to make a Meat Hook sequel, what would it be? Would come up, and I came up with one idea a while back that I thought was okay. But then there was another one that I came up with probably a couple months ago, and I was so excited. I think I texted Havon about it. I was like, "Bro, this idea is going to be fantastic." It's like it's super meta. It's just it's the most off the wall, unexpected kind of horror sequel that you can imagine. It's like nothing like any other horror sequel that's been done before. I don't really want to get too much in the weeds with the details because I kind of want to leave some of it as a surprise. But hopefully, Meat Hook does well enough, and there's people that are willing to, come around and say, "Hey, we want to see another one," and we'll put a bag of money in your hand and bring the whole group back and let's do it again. So hopefully, we'll have enough success from Meat Hook in order to warrant having a sequel. But that all depends on you guys, the audience out there watching it. So hopefully you guys go check us out. We are on Tubi right now. So you can check us out on there. We're also on Amazon Prime. We're also on a couple different YouTube channels, including Kings of Horror, as well as Terror Films YouTube channel, Shocks and Docs. So you can find our movie anywhere. Just watch it. Click play. Hope you like it. We're on Letterboxd too. Leave us a review.
Nice, I love that. And I'll continue to shout from the rooftops to get that single sequel made if I need to. If I need to be just a single entity yelling at everybody, I say, "Watch me hook," just kidnapping them to a Saw thing, and they can't get out until they watch it. Then I will do it. And
Please.
if you
Please
need
do.
a chubby Shelly guy for
Oh.
the sequel, you know where to find me. So,
Oh, we might need to fly you out.
ooh, do it, because I have
Let's
a day
go.
job and I hate
Let's
it.
go.
No, I would love to. I mean, I think this has the lore for it is amazing, and that's why I'm so excited for a sequel. I need to see more, and it's good. And I'll continue. Like I said, I will continue to share my love of this movie out. So I've got some top of my 2025 terror films list, which I won't spoil it, but this one's pretty high up there.
Number
Nice.
one. No, number one. No spoilers, but it is number one. I'm joking.
Well,
We're just happy to make the list.
Yes, we
No,
are.
it's so good. Havon, how about you, sir? What do you got coming up?
So I've been doing a lot more writing because that's my true passion. And a buddy of mine had said like, "Hey, like do you have any ideas for like a low budget horror film?" And so I thought of one. I was like, well, let me. My mentor always said like, if it scares you, it'll scare other people. So I was like, all right, and so I gave him a pitch. I was like, this would scare me. And he was like, oh my God, that's horrifying. He was like, we can't afford it. He's like, but we should write that. So it's one small low budget feature that I want to start it on. I want to start something before I moved to LA. I had started a horror romance series,
Ooh, okay.
a book series that I wanted, and I might pick it back up because I pitched it to a couple people, and they were like, "Oh, like I'd read that." So I've been doing a lot more reading and getting into like the mode of writing it, like to writing things like that, and then I want to do this horror TV series that I want to write this horror TV series that I had been juggling for a little bit, and I've been over planning it. And I was like, let me just write the pilot. Let me stop. I'm a planner. I love puzzles, and I think I need to stop I need to stop being a horror astronomer and be a horror astronaut and just do it.
Mm.
So yeah. So that's what I've been working on.
I love it, man. And you know, I will happily give a great review for your book or anything you guys do.
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna be your go-to source for all you guys on what you do, horror related, and just in general. But yeah, hey man, I'm a horror astronomer trying to be a horror astronaut too. I can't even tell you how many I write a lot too. I write a lot of short stories. I'm working on like 2 books. It's hard to just sit down and just get it out there. So
it's a mental workout. Yeah, it's a mental workout.
It is.
So yeah.
I love it. Janie, how about you?
Me, so actually give me 1 second. 2 things that I'm working on. So right now I am working on doing a voice audio recording for a family friend's book back home, this little romance novel.
Awesome.
And so if you guys like romance novels, check out A Dark Past. It is written by a Black female author from the South.
Love it.
Definitely check her out.
Holy, nice.
So I'm working on the audio recording for that. And then also I have been working on a horror movie script for the past 4 years. And I am on, I think, my 6th revision of it. And I think it's just time to get it out there and show people, because honestly, I like to create from personal experiences, and it was something very dear to me. But now with a lot of what's happening right now, I think it's very important to actually get it out there, because I think it would mean a lot to a lot of people and just be a dope ass horror movie, honestly. And that's why, Jeremy, I want to commend you again. The fact that you took something from your brain and made it happen, and that's why we're all sitting here today, is just one of the coolest things ever. So thank you again for having me on this. And
the pleasure was all mine.
Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. It's been such a cool time.
Absolutely.
You already know if you need feedback on this script.
I do. I would love to talk to all of you guys, honestly, about it, because it's always like, it's like your baby. And then you're just like, here's my child. And people are like, no, I dropped it. And you're just like, or I dropped it. So you know what I mean? But yeah, it's got to happen. And I know, Jeremy, you made it happen.
One arm's longer than the other.
I know. Take my strong hand. No, but
no, we would love to read it. Yeah, whenever you feel like sharing it, would definitely love to sit down.
Absolutely, and it will happen this year. 1,000%.
Yes, no time better than the present. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to write stuff. It's hard to get it off the ground. It's even harder to shoot it. But any time that you're able to get anything done is a big accomplishment in and of itself. So kudos to you guys for doing that.
Yeah, count me in too, because I'm more than happy to help in any way. And I'm excited to hear the audiobook too. So when that gets done, definitely send it my way. I'm happy to do a review for that as well. I'm happy to push it out on my social. So anything I can do to help pump you guys up, I'm here for you. Good
looking out.
Buddy, how about you, sir? What do you got coming up?
Well, let's see. I do have a script. I was working on it for a couple of years, and then I kind of set it aside. But just hearing you all, I'm thinking, well, I should probably get busy again. But it's actually a Western script. That's kind of my other thing there. But so I'm just kind of chipping away at that. And then I've been on the music part of my career. I've been working the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. I'm putting together. It's called the Great American Songbook Orchestra, and it's kind of, it's like a small, maybe 34-piece group that's it's all top studio jazz folks out of LA, and it's kind of the part of it's like the Sinatra, Nat King Cole, Ella Fitzgerald kind of tunes with, we have some vocalists, and then part of it is classic movie themes. I'm not sure about The Omen, but but that kind of stuff, and then a lot of kind of big band stuff, and so it's it looks like we're finally. I'm pretty sure it's going to be April 4th. I think we're doing our first concert in Hermosa Beach, and you can check our website at lovejazz.org, or we have an app. It's called the Great American Songbook app, and it's free, and you can get details. The concert will be free and open to the public, and so yeah, that's what's going on.
Send me an invite to that, Doc. I really want to attend.
Yes.
Same.
Send us all invites. Yeah,
we'll do that.
You got a captive audience here. And funny thing is that, Doc's been working in music for a long time. I think, Doc, you're also, you've taught music before, right? Or you still teach music?
Yeah, actually, I still do. I got called, I was kind of semi-retired, and there was a little local middle school in Hermosa Beach out here, and they needed a guy last year. And so I mostly worked with high school and college kids most of my life, and they kept calling me. I kept saying, I don't even like little kids. Stop calling me, And then, but I went over and checked it out, and I ended up doing it's just in the mornings, But man, little kids are hilarious. It's been a lot of fun. So I've been doing that too.
Nice. And funny story I want to share about Doc. During the production of the film, Doc would, since he makes music, he would in between, some days that we were shooting, he would send me pieces of music that he would create. He said, "Oh man, I was kind of inspired by the film, and I just wanted to create this score for you, just so you can hear it and see what we had." So, all throughout the production, Doc would just be sending me all these little slices and snippets of music. Some of them scary, some from different genres, but it was just fun that he was so engaged with the film and so interested in it, and has this great musical ability that he was able to share. So.
Well, I appreciate that. And thanks for not killing me off.
Well, we got to have you in the sequel,
Yeah, make him Dr. Loomis. Make him your own Dr. Loomis version. He gets fired from the force. He's a private detective now. There you go.
I think Vaughn would be a little upset if I get the Loomis role.
Oh.
I'd be happy that a Loomis role
true.
is in it. I'm happy that there's a monster hunter in it. There's always a fan of that.
And just to give you guys a little tidbit about Vaughn here and his love for horror films, particularly Sam Loomis, if you don't mind me sharing this, Vaughn. I think he owns not one but multiple Loomis coats that he wears, not just on Halloween, mind you, but on the reg.
Oh my God, no! They're modernized. Like it's like an army jacket, but it's like Loomisified. Like it's like tan. But the best thing, it was during Halloween. I didn't do anything festive, and I was doing those tours of those houses that decorate their houses in some style of Halloween for the holidays. And there was a guy, I think it was his house or his brother's house or whatever like that. And he was outside as Michael Myers, and he pointed at me. Like I was with a bunch of people, and like he knew, and I was like, "Can we take a picture?" And he just nodded, and it was perfect. And it was just the day I happened to be wearing that Loomis coat, and it like made my day. It made my day. I love that coat. I love the coat. There was no regrets on that purchase. So,
well, next time I have you on, you're gonna have to wear that coat, man.
Yes.
I almost wore it today. But I was like, I'm gonna look crazy just wearing a coat for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like I just came back from an adventure. So,
and it's like 82 degrees here in Los Angeles right now too. It's like nothing close to coat weather.
Exactly. He definitely would have been asking me like, Vaughn, are you sweating? I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm so cold.
So justifiably cold. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, you just sit down. You're like, I'm Loomis. You just get up, take it off. There you go. Boom.
Yeah.
Oh man. So lastly, I want to know socials. Where can people find you and follow all the great stuff you're doing?
All right, gang. So I'll start off. So socials, you could find me on Facebook, Instagram, at Jermey Ashley. My first name is spelled really fucking weird. So it's Jermey, not the other way. I know it's very confusing. I'm so sorry. But it's at Jermey Ashley. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and we also have our own website. It's meathookmovie.com. On there, you can see our trailer. We have links to our film. We also have bunch of photographs from behind the scenes. We have links to our reviews, including Christopher's review of our film on there as well. And we also have a shop where you can buy merchandise that includes pre-order of our Blu-ray, our DVD, which are expected to ship out next month or possibly April. We also have the poster up there. We also have some t-shirts. So get your Meathook merch. We got it on deck.
Nice. Well, I know where I'm spending some money tonight. Shit, man. I got to put that
100%.
Poster on the wall behind me.
You got a little space there. I could see.
I can find some
squeeze it in
space
somewhere.
I will find some space for that poster. So I love it. I
feel like I owe you. I'm just going to send you a poster. Give me your address after this. I'm going to send you a poster. Yeah.
Also, the stickers. I have a bunch of the stickers still.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
We had a whole bunch of stickers made with our logo on it for Meathook. So I'll include a couple of those along with the poster too.
They're really cool.
Nice, and I'll have to track you guys down so you can sign it for me because
oh my God,
I got to represent.
Well, you know what? I'm trying to get everybody together for an audio commentary for the physical and media release, including everybody here. So that might be a good point. I can get the poster printed. I can have everybody sign it, and then I
Ooh,
can send
okay.
it out to you. So
I
yeah,
love
that'd be a
that.
good opportunity for that. So just heads up to everybody. I'm going to be hitting you guys up, afterward to coordinate this whole audio commentary thing.
Down.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll expect my email on that one with high priority. By the way.
Oh, 100%.
No,
you
I'm just
you
kidding.
Be tagged
No,
on
no,
everything.
it's the least we could do.
Nah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
I'm just happy to be able to share my love of horror and, hype you guys up because, again, it's a great movie. People need to see it. And I just can't wait for more.
And you've been such a champion of our film, and it's just so heartwarming and so affirming that we made something that wasn't a piece of crap, for you to give such high praise to us. So I mean, it's people like you that really help movies like ours find an audience, by highlighting them, by taking the time to do this interview with us. So big props and appreciation to you, Chris, for doing this.
For
Well,
real. I mean,
Thank
like you were
you.
saying earlier, yeah, like most people, they only care about the big budget things. And it's like people will chase the price, not the value.
Word.
So
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'm just reporting on the great work that you guys did. So all of it goes to you guys as well. It's a great movie, obviously a great cast. So I'm just reporting the truth. That's all I'm doing.
You're too kind, Chris. You're too kind. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us on the cast today too.
Oh,
It was
of
a real
course.
blast talking to you.
Yeah, and Havon, where are your socials at, sir?
my socials on Instagram, I am Black Bruce Wayne. Like no underscore,
yeah,
no
that's
nothing.
right.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, I got that. And then I'm rarely on TikTok. I'm still trying to figure it out, showing
Oh, me
my
too.
age. But like I'm Latin Lex Luthor. This is what
Ooh,
happens.
okay.
Like this is what happens when you are Afro Latino and like you love alliteration.
Dude, you
So-
like the same two things I like. So I have my Smallville tattoo
I
there.
peeped that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
peeped that.
shit.
I peeped that. I
Yeah.
was like, I yeah. So
Then I
yeah.
got my Freddy Krueger one I just got recently. So
Oh,
That's
legit.
dope.
Yeah.
That's like
Legit.
yeah. So yeah, that's where people can find me.
nice. I love it. I'm gonna have to follow you on TikTok. I'm right there with you, man. I can't fucking figure that thing out. It's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just created a TikTok page for Meathook, but I have like 2 posts, and I'm still for the life of me trying to figure out how this whole thing works. So yeah, kind of showing my age a little bit there.
No, it's like having a second job that you're excited for at the beginning, but at the same time you're like, what did I get myself into?
I just want to make movies, I don't
Yeah.
want to have to like, hey, watch my movie. I don't like doing this whole promo thing. I know it's part of it, but it's just
That's
like,
true.
the time that I'm spending writing these posts and these accounts and shit. I could
The
be
whole
writing a whole
pretending to
fucking
walk somewhere and talking as if that's normal. I'm
hey
like,
guys, just
Exactly.
walking in the street. Just want to tell you about my movie.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but it's
I feel
part of
you.
the game. You got to play. I guess.
maybe we're just dinosaurs, Jeremy. So.
Yeah, we are.
Hey, I feel- I'm a
we're a dying
dinosaur too.
breed.
Absolutely. Buddy, how about you, sir? Where are your socials at? Where can people find you?
They're all over the place. It's either just Buddy Clements, or I think there's buddyclements.com. I think I still have that, but and Facebook and Instagram and all places like that.
Where can people find out about the American Songbook Orchestra?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, great question.
It's we have a website, and I'll have to update it because this just happened like within the last 3 days. I finally got funding for this through a generous grant from the Musicians Performance Trust Fund, and coordinating with our local musicians union, Local 47 in Los Angeles. So
Oh yeah.
shout out. But yeah, probably I'll blast it out. I'll definitely send you guys a personal, information. But if anybody else was interested, if you go to in the next week, probably if you go to lovejazz.org, or again, the best way is download our little app, which is a Great American Songbook app, and it's everywhere. And that's mostly it. I don't even have I think I know where tickets will be available. They'll be available online and they're free, but it's limited seating. So, keep in touch that way, I guess.
Awesome. I just wrote that down really quickly, but definitely send me an email, buddy, with those links and everything.
Oh, I sure will.
Awesome. And Janie, how about you? Where can everybody find you?
For me, unfortunately, my last Instagram got hacked, so I did have to make a new one. So I'm trying to build her back up. But you can find me at Yo It's Janie, YOITS JANIE. So Come say
Awesome.
hi.
Yeah, and everybody definitely send me your socials. I'll make sure to include them in the show notes. But yeah, guys, I can't thank you guys enough for doing this. Honestly, just as a fan of the movie and a fan of you guys, I'm truly humbled and truly grateful to have you guys on to talk with me about the movie.
No, this was fun. This was
great.
So fun. Oh my God.
This
was
was
like a
great.
reunion. I haven't seen Janie. I haven't seen Doc in a long time. It's been a little while since I've seen Vaughn too. So it's really cool to get the whole gang back together.
Jeremy sees me roaming the streets in a Loomis coat when he's driving to work.
Yeah. He usually has a revolver in one hand and a flashlight in the other. And he's, I shot him 6 times.
Exactly.
Just yelling "Sheriff" to the wind.
The police don't even take me seriously.
They don't bother
that's Vaughn. Just put him on hold.
That's the crazy Loomis kid over there. Yeah, leave him alone. He'll be all right. He's harmless.
They're like, oh, he got his coat dry cleaned finally. Jeez.
Finally.
It had a leaf stuck on it for a week. I didn't want to tell him, but jeez. No, I love that. I'm so grateful to have you guys on. I'm definitely going to have you guys back on again. I'd love to do a solo episode with everybody and just, keep, like I said, I'm more than happy to keep pumping up all the great work that you guys do.
You're too kind.
Nice.
Thank you, Christopher.
Right.
Thank you so much again for having us on the cast. And
Really.
again, thank you for your awesome review and for taking the time to set all this up. I know we've been planning this podcast for a little while now, and I'm just happy we're finally able to get it done.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
And